Hello class, welcome to Lab 4, the Linux file system. This is the last part of your week report number 4, so make sure you do this last because I might skip a couple of things here and there, assuming that you did study before you did the lab. So let's just start with a little note over here. Questions 1 and 2 are worth 50 points and we're going to solve them in the video, so you have a guaranteed 50 points in this lab. And question 3 is optional, so I'll do it last. And question 4 and question 5 are worth 50 points, 25 points each. This means that you have a little bit of a challenge to complete on your hands. I am available to help. You can form groups, you can work together with other people. I'm okay with that, as long as you do your due diligence and you study. So let's start with a little review. pwd, the command that we use to see where we are at when we're working on the terminal. It prints the absolute path of your current working directory. And cd, we use it for change directory. It stands for change directory. And ls, we use it for listing. Those are our eyes when we are navigating the terminal. So now, question number 1. We're going to move around the file system a little bit. That's all we're going to do. For the first part, we will use absolute path, which is easier than relative path because we do not need to remember the folder where we're in. We just have to type the absolute address of where we want to go. So let's start by opening a terminal. So we're going to go to applications. I will be using Tilix in this one, but you're welcome to use the default terminal if you like. So we open a terminal. I have my terminal open over here, and it says, what is your present working directory? So basically, where are you? To answer this question, all we have to do is type print working directory. What is, now change your current directory to themes. So we're gonna do cd and then the destination, which will be user. Notice that I will type the beginning of the name of the folder, and then I will use the tab key on my keyboard for auto completion. Again, the tab key on my keyboard for auto completing the word. Share and then themes. Good. Press enter. And now it's asking us, where are you? Well, I'm in themes. Change your working directory to the root of the file system. Again, the root of the file system. If you scroll down a little bit in the lab, you're going to find that you have a little picture over here that has a little map. It doesn't have all the folders in the file system, but you have a couple of ones that you can wrap your head around. As you can see, the root of the file system is represented by a single /. So if I want to go to the root of the file system, I just have to type cd and then a single /. And that will take me to the root of the file system. Notice the change in my prompt over here. Let's go up. And next. There you go. Beautiful. Change your present working directory to a snap Firefox. So we're going to do cd, snap, and then Firefox. Done. We have completed this part. Now we need to take a screenshot of the terminal showing all the commands we use to answer this part of the question. Now, I also included some visual aids over here where I am also answering the question, just in case, you'd rather do that instead of watching the video. Okay, now let's take a screenshot of this. Remember, I have Flameshot over here. I also have a map to the print screen key of my keyboard, which we already know how to do. So we're just gonna select this part over here. There's no need to take the whole screenshot. And I'm gonna click on save. Now I'm gonna name this. I'm gonna go to CIS 106. So I'm gonna click on home, CIS 106. Then I'm gonna go to labs. Over here, I'm gonna create a new folder called lab 4. And inside this folder, I'm gonna place my screenshots. I'm gonna call this one lab 4.1.png, right? Lab 4, question 1. Save. Move it to the side. Now, let's now do the same thing we're doing before with different folders, but using relative path now. Now we're not going to be typing the whole thing. We're just going to be moving around, keeping in mind where we currently are at. So first, let's clear our terminal screen, type in the clear command. Then let's change the current working directory to your home directory. Now, this is not the home directory. This is your directory, your home directory. So go home. And if you remember from the lecture, whenever we want to go home, we simply type cd and it will take us home. Now, change the current working directory to the downloads directory. So we're going to type cd and then downloads. Remember, tab for auto completion for us to save time. Now we're gonna go back 2 directories. So we're gonna type cd 1 and then 2 directories. Where are you now? If you type pwd, it's gonna tell you you are in the home directory, that place where all the users has their home in. Now change your current working directory to documents. So we're gonna type cd. First we're gonna go inside home. Oh, there you go. Since I'm already inside home, I'm gonna go to my user, which is R.A. Alberto, and then I'm gonna go to documents. Press enter, and what are you now? You are in documents. Let's take a screenshot of our terminal over here. Again, I'm only gonna take a screenshot of the part that I need, and I'm gonna click on save. This will be lab 4, question 1.2. Click on save, and we're moving on. Question number 2. For question number 2, you're gonna download this file. So let me pause the video, clean up a little bit, and then I can do it again so that I can do what is shown here in the little image. Okay guys, I'm back. Now we're gonna click on lab4 files.zip, right? And I'm just gonna click on the icon on the corner over here. That's gonna open the downloads folder right away. Have it right over here. Now I'm gonna open this compressed zip file, and I'm gonna extract this in my home directory. So let me put them side by side. Click on home, and all I have to do is drag and drop. That's done. I'm gonna click this, and I'm gonna close this as well because we don't need it anymore. First, change your present working directory to the user share theme, so the user share folder. So we're gonna go cd. Let me clear the terminal a little bit. So I'm gonna go cd, user, and then share. Now, using absolute path, list all the files inside the lab4 files directories. Now, let's take a look at that graphically real quick. So I'm just gonna open a file manager, and I know the folder is this one over here, lab4 files. This is the folder here, right? So it's inside home, my home, and then lab4 files. As a matter of fact, let me open, I have a better file manager that it's gonna allow us to see this more clear. There you go, that's better. So if I go inside lab4 files, notice this is the absolute path of the lab4 files directory, right? It's located inside home, then my user, then lab4 files. Currently I am inside user share. And again, since I'm using absolute path, I must start at the root. So I'm gonna do ls for listing, start at the root, then home, then my user, and then finally lab4 files. And those are all the files that are inside the lab4 files directory. And if you open it, notice that that's exactly it. See, globe.avi, globe.avi. Let's move on. Change your present working directory to lab4 files. Long list all the files inside your current working directory with human readable file size. So this is a compound question that has actually 3 parts. Let's do the first one, which is a cd command. So we are gonna go, just gonna close this because we don't need it open. Cd and then lab4 files. Notice that I use the tilde character as a shorthand for all of this mumbo jumbo that I have at the very beginning here, right? I am inside lab4 files. Now we're gonna do a long list of all the files inside there. Now this is when the Tilix terminal becomes very useful, because now I'm just gonna go full screen real quick, and I'm gonna open another terminal on the side by splitting my current window into 1 terminal and then 2 terminals. And I'm gonna type the man ls help. This here is gonna give me the help manual. I've got a summary of the help manual for the ls command. But the good part is that I have here all the options of the ls command, and I can just read through them. So I'm looking for an option that can give me a long list, not just a regular list. And if you read one by one, you're gonna find that we have this one over here, -l, which gives us a long list format. So we're gonna do ls -l. And since I am listing the current directory, I do not need to specify anything else after I type the ls command. So I'm gonna press enter, and notice how we get a long list. Now, the next part of the question is this: with human readable file sizes. So if you notice the output of ls, let me zoom in a little bit, you will notice that the file size here is not very friendly. Like it's very difficult for a human to know what is the real size of this file unless you do the math in your head. So we're gonna find an option here that will allow us to format this in units that are better for human reading. And we have an option here called human readable. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use the arrow key up in the keyboard to modify the previous command. And I'm gonna pass the H option. When I press enter over here, notice that it says 20K now instead of saying 20,471 bytes. Okay. Now, long list all the files inside the lab4 files with human readable file sizes and sorted by file size. So we have a similar command that we're doing above, but in this case we're adding more stuff. So we know this part already, and we already know how to do human readable sizes. But now, how do we sort it by the size of the file? We need to read on the options again, and if you scroll down, you're gonna find that you have these options over here. No. Right here, this is what I'm looking for. So sort the file by file size, the largest first. So we're gonna click back in here in this side, gonna up our arrow key up once, and we're gonna pass the option of capital S. Press enter, and notice that now the first file that appears in the output is linux.pdf, which is a file that has 2.5 megabytes in size. Then after that we have 2.1 and so on, so on. Again, we're gonna continue with a long list, human readable file size, same type of sorting, but this time we're gonna exclude the user and the group owner. And finally, we're gonna provide the inode number. Don't worry about what this word means, because in a future lecture we're gonna start talking about this kind of stuff. So we're gonna keep the same options we had before, but now we need to remove this and this from the output. And if you, again, take your time, read through the options, you're gonna find this option here that says no group, and then this option over here that says works like L, but do not list the owner. So we're gonna do G and enter. Notice that the group and the owner were excluded from the output. The last thing that we need now is the inode number. So again, if you go through the options over here, you're gonna find this option here, lowercase I, which is gonna give you the inode number at the beginning of every file, which is this number over here. Now, list all the files, no longer the long list, inside the lab4 files, but we're gonna sort this by the file extension. Is those three characters in the name of the file that identify the type of file you're working with. And we're gonna also do it in reverse order. So once the sorting is done, the output should appear in reverse order. Now, again, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a simple list, so not a long list anymore, and we need to sort it by file extensions. So if you go over here, this says that capital X is gonna do a sort alphabetically by the entry extension, by the file extension. So we're gonna do minus X, and then if you keep on reading, you're gonna find this reverse option over here. Then we're gonna do R. Now let's verify that that's all they're asking us to do, and yeah, that's all they're asking us to do. Press enter, and notice that we do have the same sorting over here, but the last item that appeared was AV, or AVI, and the first one that appeared was XLS. So the sorting was proper, and then it was reversed. By the way, if you want to see this in a single column, you can pass a $1 argument, right? Just number 1, and it will appear as a single column. Okay, now it's time for us to take our screenshot. So we're gonna scroll up a little bit, and this is the first part we're gonna take a screenshot of. This question requires multiple screenshots. So we're gonna start with this part here. Save. I'm gonna call this lab for question 2. I believe it's question 2 we're working on right now. Question 2, yeah. question 2.1. Save. We're gonna scroll up, right there. Just leave it right there. And this is lab 4, question 2.2. And finally, the last section, which is this one over here. Lab 4, question 2.3. And with that, you have successfully earned 50 points on your lab number 4. Now, question number 3, I will do it in the end once we are done completely, because question number 3 requires no submission at all, and we're only doing it just to know that these commands exist out there, considering the fact that the course will primarily focus on the tools that are mainstream and that appear in pretty much every Linux distribution without needing installation. Now, question 4, allow me to explain. This is a challenge question. You are to complete it 100% on your own. I gave you a little map over here to give you a visual representation of the file system. You're going to complete each and every one of these instructions here from 1 to 10. And once you're done, you will take a screenshot showing that you have completed the work. You will require to take more than one screenshot, as it's 10 instructions you must complete. Try to do as much as you can, and if you have any questions and you need extra explanation, I am open to giving that to you. You can also collaborate with other teammates if you like. Now, question number 5. Again, these are 2 scenario-based questions. These are similar to the questions that I'm going to give you in your final exam. You're required to read the prompt, go to the root of the file system. From there, you need to reach the downloads folder. That's it. Now, I have specific rules that I want you to follow. You are allowed to move one directory at a time only. Only one directory at a time, which means you are not allowed to use either shortcuts like the tilde character nor absolute path. Once you have reached the downloads directory, show the absolute path of the current working directory. That's a pwd command. Then you're going to take a screenshot of the terminal showing me all the steps that you took to get there. Then move along to challenge number 2. Change your present working directory to the Adwaita directory. Then from there, I need you to reach your documents directory. This time around, you are allowed to move more than 2 directories at a time. You can use shortcuts if you want, or you can use absolute path if you want to. And once you have reached your documents directory, show me the present working directory. Take a screenshot showing me everything you did to get to this point. Once you're done, make sure all your screenshots are in the right place, and we are ready to submit. Now, before I do the submission, let me go over here to question number 3. Actually, just in case anybody is on a rush, I'm just going to do the submission now, and then I'm going to come back to question number 3. So, just going to close this because we don't need it anymore. We're going to go to Applications, Programming, and then Visual Studio Code. We're going to make sure that we're working inside CIS 106, so I'm going to do it the long way. I'm going to open the folder again, and nothing should change because I was already inside the CIS 106 folder. Now over here, I'm going to go inside lab 4, and I'm going to create a document called lab4.md. Perfect. Now I'm just going to close this, and just going to copy this part over here so I don't have to type it all over again. And let's just start with the title, Lab 4, the Linux FS. And then we're gonna have here question 1, question 2. Question 3 has no submission, so we skip it. Question 4, and then question 5. Okay. This is question 1. Now we do Q1 lab 4.1.png right there. And there you go. Same thing here. Q1.2. Lab 4.1.2.png. Then we're gonna do question number 2, which has 3 parts. Question 2, lab 4.2.1. Question 2.2. And we are done with this part. Again, remember question 4 and question 5, you need to do it on your own. Once we're done here, we need to convert this to PDF. And now we can submit in GitHub. So we're gonna do git pull, git add period, git commit -m, lab 4 done, and then git push. And if we go to GitHub, lab number 4, remember that this is what I want, the URL to this file over here, this part. You're gonna give me this, and you are going to give me the PDF file for lab4.pdf. Yep, that's about it. If you have any questions, if you need any assistance, please let me know. Reach out to me via Slack and I will be more than happy to help. Have a good one.